Hello everybody, I'm here to give you a little laugh, hopefully, thanks to Ron Collins. Let's face it, we all need a laugh nowadays. Inflation is spiking, we're looking at government shutdown maybe fairly soon, defaulting on our debt, half the country wants to kill the other half, supply chain bottlenecks, it just goes on and on. So we got to find the humor where we can. And thanks to Ron Collins, there's a little bit of mirth in your near future. Keep watching. Now, if you're just joining us and you don't know who Ron Collins is, he started out as kind of like a fake ninja. He tried to say that he was ex-USMC Force Recon, which is an elite unit, basically like the modern military's version of ninja, deep reconnaissance units. Turns out, failed USMC basic training. Couldn't handle it. We found out over the years, as he annoyed people on the internet, that he essentially went sent behind bars for trying to drug and rape an underage girl. There have been credible charges of him raping a girl who was underage. He's assaulted girls, attacked people from behind with a hammer. He's not a badass. He's just, one of those people that will shoot you from the shadows. But I've seen him face to face when he brought 4 guys to one of my seminars to try to face me. I've seen him in his eyes and it was complete fear. He was facing someone face up, not from behind, an adult, not a child, not a woman, and he was terrified. So, he's in prison right now. Federal prison, New Jersey, if I remember correctly. The background is basically that back in the day, they found kiddie porn on his computer. Yes, so they arrested him for that, but they let him out until the trial. They do that sometimes. I don't agree with it. And he got in his mind that it would be a good idea to post pictures of the arresting officer's house, give his address, demand that the case be dropped against him and everything like his computer be given back to him, and talked about how at any moment he wanted, he could slip through the window and slit the officer's throat. Yeah, he thought that was a good idea. Obviously, they pulled him in again. This time, terrorist threats. They sent him to a psychologist, and they found out that he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Incompetent to stand trial, as compared to just being generally incompetent in his life. So instead of prison, he got sent to a mental hospital for 1.5 years, approximately. So, fast forward to a few years ago, and he's trying to intimidate people like me on the internet by showing that he bought a gun. Now, for those of you outside the United States, yes, we do have a lot of guns, but we don't want crazy people to get guns. So when you go into a gun store and you fill out the forms, there's all these questions. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Have you ever been dishonorably discharged from the military? And one of the questions is, of course, have you ever been involuntarily committed to a mental institution? And obviously, Ron lied on a federal forum. This is a serious crime in America. He not only did that, but he went out and started making videos so that he knew that everyone knew that he was armed and knew where we were. And he said things like, "Oh, you said I couldn't, get a gun because I've been sent to a mental institution. Look at this." Things like that. He thought that was a good idea. And again, people on the East Coast, before I even woke up, they wake up to these videos that he made like at 2 o'clock in the morning, his time, East Coast time. And they, by the time I woke up in Colorado time, they'd be calling they'd drop dime on him. So yeah, it was an open and shut case. I think it took the jury less than 30 minutes to convict. He gave everything to the prosecutor on a silver platter. The videos of him holding the gun, the videos of him talking about how, people said he couldn't buy the gun, took away his defense. Oh, I didn't know. Things like that. And, he's in prison right now. And after a video of me making him back down, and when he brought 4 guys with him to one of my seminars, it got put up on another channel, and I got a lot of people. I put up a video, explained the background, and this account started commenting on it and accusing me of it. And after like 5-6 days of this, all of a sudden, boom, silence. And we were having so much fun because it was so hysterical. But he's back. So, going under the name Stan Livingston Longsword Shinobi, I'll talk about who I think this is afterwards, wrote this last night. It would be at about 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, Ron's time. Again, Ron's not supposed to have internet access, but yes, he has had access in the past to a smuggled in cell phone. You know, he can't help it. I mean, when he did that, of course, somebody saw it. They seemed to have found, tossed his cell, found the cell phone, whatever. He's probably brought it for someone else. I'm thinking, none of his friends would bring it to him. He's probably got it from one of the other inmates in return for certain favors, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so he's back, and we'll see how long he'll stick around before they find the phone, if it's him. But what this guy, calling himself Stan, writes is funny. We need the laugh. So if you've got any type of liquids, put it down now. I'm not going to be responsible for any destroyed keyboards, okay? So here we go with the response. Ron gave me advice to go into the mountain for some deep meditation and to regain my inner self, to leave this riffraff behind and come out reborn. Oh yeah, I don't know if I gave the timeline, but yeah, this guy's been gone for like 2+ months. So yeah, we were wondering where he's gone. He's claiming that he was up in the mountains for 2 months. I mean, geez, I don't even think that guy that they're looking for, because they found the body of his fiancée, has been out there for that long. Anyways, continue on. To prepare for his release, which is not very far away, Ron said to let all the yahoos that think of him as weak, period, capital T, to keep believing that he is weak, comma, period, capital F, for he is far more dangerous that way. His physical self is much more advanced from the severe training he has put his body through. It's funny if you know Ron. There was a side shot of him at this one thing that he did where he lasted 40 seconds against a second-rate guy, where it looks like he's got a basketball underneath his shirt. He looked pregnant, okay? No real power whatsoever, okay? It's going to get better, though, okay? But the mental self he has created is more advanced than some of the great ancient teachers that you have only read about in books. I suggest that if you are an enemy of Ron, to either leave this country or be ready to apologize and make good for your past accusations and threats. That is your only chance. Then you still have to beg for his mercy and hope that he has any for you. You think of this as a joke. But the joke will be on you when he is released. Don't say I didn't warn you. I'm asking you to please consider making out an apology to Ron and reading it out loud to your little fanboys. Then and only then will Ron even consider having an ounce of mercy for you. If you only seen a little of what I have seen of the new and improved Ron, period, capital Y, you wouldn't waste a second on finding a notebook and a pen and writing a letter begging for forgiveness. By the way, Ron has watched this video and the others you have with his picture on them, and he said he did not give you permission to use his likeness in any way. So there you have it, folks. Yeah, not Robin Williams level, comedy level, but still funny as hell. Now who is this Stan Livingston guy? Well, I had been thinking about it being a guy named David Richardson. He's a guy calling himself Dorian the Musician. I get a lot of people that want me dead. I've put more, Ron's not the only guy that rapes children that I put behind bars. I also do it with crazies and frauds and just general scum of the earth. And this guy, David Richardson, once tried to get a heavily armed lunatic mad at me and give him my address so that he would come out and kill my entire family and me. I put out a video about that, by the way. You can search through that. Turns out the guy, this lunatic didn't have a car, couldn't get out here. A few months later, he slapped his mother around, whom he had been living with. The SWAT team surrounded his house, and he ended up committing suicide. So yeah, David Richardson kind of failed in that respect. I thought this because a lot of the stuff up to now has been basically attacks on me. Not pushing how great Ron is, but rather, he's been like accusing me of there was 3 guys that supposedly tried to kill Ron, shooting at him. They caught one, and he admitted that I put them up to it. And the video that this guy's responding to is me basically saying, okay, well, I know I did do that. If there's arrest and there's public record, show me the proof. And again, he just ignored it. Things like that. So I thought it was more along the lines of David Richardson just getting a chance to attack me and then maybe trying to get things going between me and Ron. I seriously think there's a chance that Ron might be killed by these people just so they can blame it on me. Or they're trying to get Ron, me and Ron going at it so Ron can come out. And he did this once with coming out to Denver, didn't end up coming any closer, but he was staying up in Denver, which is an hour north of me, and wrote things like how he could burn down my house while my children were sleeping in it. I was thinking that maybe they're trying to get us at loggerheads so Ron would come out and actually follow through on his threats or something like that. But this one, basically, because he was gone for 2 months, which might indicate that the cell phone that he's using was confiscated and he had to get a new one to get back online. And just the way that, he just went on and on about Ron is great. I'm leaning more towards Ron now. I mean, Ron literally has been diagnosed by mental health professionals with malignant narcissism. It's kind of the key why he's never achieved anything in his life. He has this high image of him. And the truth is that if you ever want to get good, you have to be able to fail. You have to fall down on your face, dust yourself off, realize why why this happened to you, and learn from your failures. When you're like Ron, he's never admitted that he's failed. I mean, he's fallen on his ass plenty of times, but he always excuses it with something or attributes a conspiracy against him, things like that. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards Ron, and if so, then hopefully he'll be coming back with more responses that I can share and we can have a good chuckle over. Because, I could use a laugh right now. I don't know about you, but I could use a laugh right now. Now, I do want to say that I have written to Ron a few times and I've tried to give him damn good advice. I've told him to take responsibility for his life, admit his limitations, and that he has to go to therapy as part of his sentence. And I urged him, actually use therapy, because I know that if you do not want to go to therapy, the therapist can't help you. They're finding this out with Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous has had great track records with people that want to go to the meetings, want to give up, but when a judge sends a guy to AA, it doesn't work. Same thing. And sometimes you just have to hit bottom and then realize that you can't go on that way anymore. You need help, and you ask for a hand up. And when people hit that stage, that's when you can reach out and lift them up if they're willing to help to stand up on their own. If they're not willing to stand up, if they, like Ron, in denial about why their life is so horrible, why it's their failure after failure after failure, then no, you can't pull them up. They have to want to get up on their own. And again, Ron's in prison, and he's in his 40s now. He's never been married, never had kids, never had a career, no accomplishments to show. He's a laughingstock internationally. People all over the world are laughing at him. And I honestly hoped that boom, realizing that, he's a convicted felon now. He's, his, this lawsuit that is bringing against the prosecutor that sent him to the mental hospital has been, the Supreme Court of the United States itself said it was a valid case by turning it down and not seeing it. This, I thought hopefully that, if he hit bottom, he'd be willing for some help and maybe listen to some advice about, like taking advantage of the therapist that he has access to, trying to learn a skill while he's still behind bars. You'll read up on things, that books from the prison library that will make him a better person. These, this is the type of things he could do to turn himself around. He won't ever be, a fashion model. Neither will I. But there's that. He won't be, he's not that smart, but he can do something that he can take pride in. It could be anything. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. said, something that, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, then let him be a street sweeper and do his jobs to the ability so that people will see the streets and say, here lived a great man that did his job well. Yeah, I mean, he could have that. And I hope really he did. I mean, but part of it is obsession with me. Someone pointed out, some guy named Phil. Phil pointed out to me that part of the reason why Ron is so obsessed with me is that I am everything that he wants to be but can't. I mean, I completed my military service and got an honorable discharge. Didn't bail, didn't get tossed out or anything like that. I went to Japan and learned ninjutsu. He claims to be like this ninja master. And when, the one fight that's on film, he lasted 40 seconds. I actually learned this stuff. I translate 17th century books on on ninjutsu. He's never been married, as I said. I had a wife, unfortunately she smoked, died in my arms, but she gave me more joy than I think most people would ever get in their lives. And she gave me 2 wonderful children. I mean, I've got the respect of people that are worthy of respect. I can respect back. January I'm doing a seminar in Lexington on, stick fighting, things like that. I mean, I'm everything that he wants to be but can't. And, Ron, if you're watching this, then, you can turn your life around. You can, be a better person. You can have value instead of taking from everyone around you and making their lives miserable. But you have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to realize that it's not a conspiracy and you're not winning. You're just fooling yourself. And, if you honestly want help, there are sources, resources where you are right now to turn your life around. And I honestly hope you turn out to be better instead of just like this source of misery and taking more than you give for all your life. But, if you're going to continue on writing these silly things and stuff like that, then, well, okay, we'll just go with the humor of it. I'll read it out. Everyone will get a good laugh. And, you'll be a source of positive by, like making people laugh at you. Okay? So, there's that. And hopefully I'm going to put this up. And, Ron or whoever it was, seems to have responded about 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. It would be 11 o'clock out in LA where David Richardson lives. So if I post it tonight, then hopefully by tomorrow morning, there will be something else that we can laugh at. I'll keep you up to date, so see you then, folks.